Hey y'all, I'm Kristen from Hammock Haven Farm and coming to you from the barn today where we're going to go over a little bit on what we feed our goats. Now these are production animals, which means that they are going to produce milk even at the detriment of their own bodies. And so in order to get that kind of production out and to keep these animals in good condition, you have to put in. A lot of people just think you can go and throw them out on pasture and they'll be okay, and they're not this kind of goat. So definitely need to put in the feed. The most important part of their diet is going to be their forage. That is going to be their hay, or if they actually have place to graze, it's going to be their grass or their browse. Goats are browsers like deer, not grazers like cows or sheep. So even though we've got grass in their pen, they don't eat it very much. They would much prefer to eat the landscaping. The bulk of their diet, though, is supposed to be the forage. So we have several different types of hay that we feed. Now I'm going to go through those with you. The first we always keep out is a big round bale. Usually this is the kind we've got. It's coastal Bermuda and perennial peanut mixed. I just grabbed this and you can see they've eaten most of the peanut out of it. My girls really aren't huge Bermuda fans. They pretty much would like to eat any kind of grass hay except for Bermuda. The weedier the better. They just kind of eschew this, but it does go down gradually. A lot of people will feed a straight alfalfa, especially if you're in an area where it's grown, or the straight peanut. Unfortunately, we've got to bring in a lot of the higher density, higher energy feeds. Speaking of the higher density, higher energy feeds, this is perennial peanut hay, and it is part of the legume family. This is kind of like the alfalfa of the South. It's grown in Florida, parts of South Georgia and South Alabama. We bring it up from Florida. This actually was a Georgia one, but most of ours comes from Florida. And it's just a little more accessible to us than alfalfa and a little less expensive, but it's going to have the same kind of nutritional content. This just really helps them give the energy that they need to milk, keep their body weight and their condition up, and it's important. They eat usually, well, we got a lot of goats right now, so we're going through almost one whole square bale of this a day, in addition to that round bale of the coastal peanut mix that I have out there. The other hay that we are feeding right now, which is something that they really, really like, is this is annual ryegrass, and I guess it's real sweet to them. And they've been chowing this, so they would much rather eat this than the coastal. And so I've been throwing about half a bale of this out a day to them as well. Spoiled goats. The last product that I would use that I would really call a forage is this chaff hay, and it's a fermented alfalfa product. It comes in these big plastic bags, and it's a moist product. And the alfalfa is broken down, and it has a really distinctive smell. Some people like it, some people don't. The goats, it took a while to get used to it, but once they do, they really like it. Now I use this mainly to slow them down on the grain while they're eating, or they would just eat way more grain than they would need. So I put this under their feed, and then I put their feed on top of it, and it just slows them down, gives them some extra nutrition. So we do feed that in terms of alfalfa. There's been a big movement recently about going grain-free and all grass-fed, and while that sounds nice in theory, these animals really need some extra calories in their diet that they're not going to get from hay or just pasture alone. They need more. I think you could potentially feed straight high alfalfa and maybe they'd be okay. I've never tried it. I just want to make sure I'm meeting their energy needs. And so the main thing that we use for that is a dairy goat feed, 16%. We use ADM. This is an empty bag of the ADM, and it's a pelletized formula. A lot of feeds are a sweet feed that has textured formula with molasses on it. It's just a pellet, and it's been the most cost-effective thing that I've found in terms of like consistency and of the quality and for the price. So this is what we get. We pay about $13.25 or $13.50 a bag for it from our feed store for a 50-pound bag. Now the girls each day, I wish I had a better way to measure, but depending on their weight, when they go out to the milk stand, they're either going to get about this much of this big cup or about the whole thing if they're a little thinner. So each time they come out to milk twice a day, they're getting that. Now, while I'm bringing 4 girls out at a time, we have others that are going to try to run out the gate at the same time. So to kind of distract them and get 4 out at a time, I also feed alfalfa pellets. And now this is pelletized alfalfa, obviously. They sell alfalfa cubes, but it's a little big for their mouths. So we just use these, and I throw a few cups of these out in the feeders and just keeps them occupied. Every once in a while, you're going to end up with a problem case who's milking so much that you can't keep any weight on her. And one thing that we like to add extra calories is these rice bran pellets. And I'll show you what those look like. So you can see the rice bran pellets. I've got a couple of sunflower seeds I've had in the cup. We throw those, I don't know, a cup or so into girls that are skinny and just need a few extra calories. Another treat that I use, just put on some extra weight on some of them, and also, like I said, just as a treat or to bulk them up, is black oil sunflower seeds. So I don't always feed these, not every goat gets them, just the ones I'm trying to put weight on. I'll get a handful of these as well. Okay, another thing that we feed as a supplement is beet pulp. And this stuff's interesting. If you soak it, it really swells up about like 10 times this size. I don't soak it before I feed it. I know the directions for horses say to, but I'll top dress their food with this. This helps with milk production and also putting weight on things. So, beet pulp. Then in terms of minerals and supplements, we feed a loose mineral, and I've gone through a couple different kinds until I found I just really like this stuff. It's the Caprine Supply minerals. You can get it online. They are expensive, but one thing I really like about it is it's got all the probiotics in it, all of the brewer's yeasts, and if you get down on the label here, you can probably see all the different types of yeasts and probiotics in there. So I ran out of that this fall, or this winter, about the time I broke my foot, and then just bought some local minerals, thinking for a little while it wouldn't make that big of a difference, and I saw a noticeable difference when they didn't have their minerals. So we're back to that. Then we also put out baking soda, just the plain old baking soda like from the store. This helps to regulate the acid in their rumens. They just eat it when they need it, don't eat it when they don't need it. So I keep this out in their mineral feeder with them at all times. Too much acid can lead to acidosis, it can lead to diarrhea, it can lead to them getting sick with certain overgrowths of bacteria. It can also reduce your butter fat, so it's important to have that good acid, correct acid in their rumens. And the last thing that we feed in terms of supplements is dried kelp, and it does smell like the sea, but they love it. We've only been feeding it for a couple of years. I've never tried to take them back off of it to see how they would look if I took them off, but they enjoy it, and I figure it's not hurting anything. They don't eat a whole lot of it. One 50-pound bag lasts us a whole year, so that's all we buy. So our feed regimen might not work for everybody. It's what works for us. You need to kind of figure out what works for you and your climate and with your animals. Just to kind of recap, the most important thing, and I can't stress this enough, is the quality of your hay. No amount of supplements is going to give you the result that you desire if you don't have that hay. And that should be the bulk of their diet, and it's going to pack the biggest punch. I can't say that enough. Also, be prepared to feed them. The more you put in, the more you're going to get out. The better they'll look. It's just very important. Yeah, it just makes me sad when people throw them out there and think that they can just live on crummy pasture. I can guarantee you that they will not thrive. So I think that's about it. I think that covers everything that we feed. Thank you for watching, and leave your questions down below if you have any. Hopefully I can answer, or any tidbits that you have for what you feed. Please take the time to like, share, and subscribe.